How many times do you put your dick back in your pants and then piss leaks on it?
Every day at work.
I would go as far...
But I'm always trying to piss really fast, like, because I don't have a lot of time. I was like, I gotta piss, like, before the show or something. And I'll be like, like, when you flex and it fucking hydroplanes out of there. Fucking pressure washer.
Racehorse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, when you think you're done, you're not, though.
I've gone as far as to take pieces of toilet paper, rip them, and blot the whole of my penis.
Jesus.
Bro,
I just fucking
this is a
with
big
it.
problem for me, and sometimes I'm like, do I just have this perpetual UTI? Do you ever get drippy dick?
No.
Yes, you do, because every guy does. It's where you feel like, I gotta piss. You're laying there, and it happened to me a lot when I would drink. You sit there and say, I have to piss, and you get up to piss, and nothing's coming out.
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
Drippy dick.
Oh, shit, that's what they call it? That's the unofficial Jared Shapert term, medical?
Yes.
Drippy dick.
Better than, like, spicy dick.
That happened to me not too long ago, actually. I got up, and I had to, thought I had to piss, and, I'm standing there, I'm just like...
Sometimes it happens to me so much that I will just sit on the toilet, and I just try to squeeze... That's not good. I'm going to get a fucking hernia or a hemorrhoid.
You sit while you pee?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying it goes so long, like I have to pee, but it's not coming out for so long that I just sit down. I don't know.
You don't just zip it up and give up?
No, because I cannot just... Usually it's around bedtime. I cannot just lay there while my penis feels like you've got pee ready to come out of it. I cannot get comfortable that way. And, oh God, sometimes in my rationale, I would think, maybe if I jerk off, it'll go away. And it only makes it worse.
Yeah, because you just switched valves at that point, and then it's just like, no, we're still here.
That's interesting. I wonder what the tubage is. Like
How that works?
Yeah.
I just pictured it as in an actual valve that just goes...
That's actually pretty insightful. And there's little men in your body that...
Men?
Here's a trick for you. They can be women. I would just think the men have men and the women have women. I would do this before I even knew this was a tip for helping you sleep. I want to say I've told you this before. I would lay there and imagine there's little workers.
Oh, yeah. I think
men or women all over my body, and they would go on my nose, and with shovels, they'd scoop out my pores and then spray them clean with
a miniature pressure washer.
Yeah, some sort of solvent.
You just hear a subtle...
And they'd polish it. And then sometimes when there'd be a big guy on there, they'd all walk up to it and oh, what are we going to do about this one? Like a volcano. And then when it would erupt, it's like...
Meanwhile, you're cozy, just sleeping. And if you zoom in on them, it's fucking chaos.
Oh my God!
We've got a boy!
No, it's a tip for sleep. Create your own fantasy world.
So you're saying when you think of those workers, it helps you go to sleep?
Yeah, that's my own little fantasy world.
I see.
And
this isn't a tip that you read, here, think of this scenario?
No.
Okay, you made this up.
Yeah, I thought about that well before I knew create your own fantasy world was a thing to help you sleep. So I use it.
Well, I used to do it, I guess, without even thinking. I would think of things as I'm going to sleep, and I would have to start over if it wasn't perfect in my head, the exact premise of whatever I'd think about. Ideal situations or something.
Like you getting a certain role or
that, or just doing that. Maybe I listen to music, so I'd time the fantasy to the song. I have this one fantasy with it's Kendrick Lamar's song.
Backseat Freestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good song.
And I had this fantasy that one day I'm in a very awesome place in life, and I'm able to treat my siblings to a chartered flight to California to go to some sort of premiere, and like
I can see
the
this.
whole fantasies to this song. And dude, I was so in it at one point. I get like chills thinking of this fantasy
I'm gonna
because it felt so like I just and if I fucked up like a detail, I'd like start the song over and do it all from the beginning.
I've done that. I think other people have done that too. I'm gonna give you your own.
But I would do that to go to sleep sometimes too.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you your own Throwback Thursday moment. Let's see if you remember this. You have to. This was a big deal to you, and it involves a Kendrick Lamar song and an idea for a movie you had.
Okay.
The Commission.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. That was all.
Explain the premise of that, and then I will.
I forget the actual plot I had thought of initially, but I do remember it was centered around agents.
I think a guy
And,
was a
like,
he was a
insurance-
drug dealer, and then he applied the same hustle
to like a legal form of currency.
Yeah,
Yeah, selling
he
insurance
still
or whatever.
weaved his way into
Yeah,
the
but
street
it was still
life.
right. And also,
I thought that was a great idea.
And I also had big inspiration because I used to do insurance sales, as you know.
I know you did.
I was really bad at it. Getting people to buy an idea and a piece of paper wasn't the easiest thing.
I could do that
Because there's nothing tangible. But anyway, but the corruptness dealing with that job is another thing that inspired me too. Because some of these agents will do anything to get you to sign.
Yeah,
Like they would take advantage of old people.
Oh, yeah. However, I made somewhere. It's on the old laptop I don't have anymore. Yeah, there's no way I could find it. I don't think I ever sent it to you. But I made like a mock trailer, just the audio, because I had no video. And it was something to the effect of like, I've been on these streets and I'm about to get the biggest score of my life. Like just some bullshit talking thing. And then right after, there was some big punchy line from the same album. The song Mad City would play, the one that's ga ga ga
Yeah.
ga, and then it's like this, and it would be every
Flash.
yes
of the seeds. Do.
And then
Dude, trailers are dope.
I just want to make trailers.
I'll hire you. We should make trailers for movies that are never going to come out.
That's what I'm saying, and because I feel like even above editing a movie, where my strong point in editing would be is trailers. I took your Brown Sugar footage,
Dude, you made that legit.
yeah, and it was shitty,
I know.
but some of the shots were good.
Rest in peace to that film.
Never came out.
No.
Well, I think making trailers, putting them on the Get Better Collective would be hilarious. Some of them cool. I just like trailers.
You know what would be a cool premise? Is if like a small local film festival or like a competition, instead of like a 24-hour film competition, there was pre-made trailers.
Yeah.
And you had to like, all right, this movie's not made. The plot is whatever it is now. You have to like make the rest of it.
Okay, so what you're saying is,
But like you would have obviously have to use.
the company or whoever's putting it on. Are you saying people like draw a random trailer out of a
Or
hat?
something. I don't know. However
That's
they do.
a cool idea.
You know what I mean? Like you get the trailer, you watch it, and they're like, all right, this is a trailer that was made for a movie that's not real. And
Now
a
you make the movie.
Right.
A
Now
short
you
film.
make the movie based on this trailer.
I think that'd be really, and everyone picks it randomly. All
Yeah,
the trailers
that's
are
kinda
pretty
cool.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Right. I mean, and then you don't have to use the same, if there was actors in those fake trailers, you know, you don't have to use them if you don't want.
Yeah. We get some pretty
And
good
you could
ideas.
be like, and then at the festival, you'd be like, this was the trailer that was given to this group. This is the movie they came up with as tailored to the trailer.
Right. I bet you there is some type of competition out there. I want to say Matt Damon with that Project Greenlight. I think they would make either a trailer or a teaser or a scene, and you would get your project greenlit if you won that competition.
That's pretty cool too.
I've
Like,
looked
so you
into
would
stuff
make
like that.
you would make a little bit
Yeah,
of what you
yeah.
would want to make. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I've
They
got
should one of those,
anxiety that this isn't recording. I want to check. All right. I just like to.
Is it?
It is. I just like to flip it around to double check. Yeah, that would be a very cool concept. The other cool idea we had that I haven't really I'm not going to do any legwork on any of these ideas unless it's like, wow, great, was that Pokemon Go, but using animals and nature. That's a good idea. Don't you think?
It is. It would teach people about the actual animals that exist.
And it would make it a game. Henry, do not step on the laptop. I think that would be phenomenal. Gosh, we haven't really even reflected on Stephen Whalen, that podcast.
I know. It was pretty amazing, right?
I just admire so much anybody who will uproot their life just to go do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, we have this podcast and our project, but it's still, we're not uprooting much. I mean, you drive here.
Which is okay for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, he straight up is a testament to, like, you know, all those cliches. Jump and your wings will appear. Jump and the net will appear.
Yeah, I worry about him, but...
You can't know until you try.
Yeah. But at the same time,
fail, and fail better. But, like, literally, though, because he's already been once, so he's doing it again. And he tried to stay the first time, which is cool. And obviously, you know, and he told us that story with the whole passport thing, or the visa
FBI,
thing.
yeah.
But he's going back, you know? And what's cool, too, is what he said was, this is what I want to do right now.
Right.
Could change. So it's a man who's not afraid to just be like, no, I'm going to go for it. Mm-hmm. Oh, it wasn't what I wanted to do last year, but he's a go in or go home type of person.
Yeah, and that's what I find most admirable about him. Admirable, not admiral. Not to mention looking in the face of death with fucking lions and hippos and elephants. I
mean, it made sense why he worked at Gatorland and wrestled gators.
Yeah, Gatorland's nothing compared to what he's seeing out there.
Are you trying to downplay my experience?
You work with...
it's true.
Those gators are on NyQuil.
Dude, you don't know.
You're slipping them a bottle. Come on, Solo.
Oh, God.
Giving him pot cookies. No, his story of the lion made my butthole clench. And I want him to... I want to do that video project with him. And there's a sick part of me that just hopes he gets a video of, like, a lion fight.
Damn, I thought that was going to go way darker. A lion charging him.
Not him. I don't want him to get hurt. I'm obsessed with animals fighting. Have you ever seen that page, Nature is Metal? Or pages like that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Dude, they are next level.
Dude, animals are... It's funny because people are like, oh, don't eat the animals and we care about it. It's like, don't get me wrong. I love animals. I'm the first to tell you I work with animals. But, dude, nature between itself is ruthless. Man. Have you ever seen a fucking crocodile or an alligator, the way it kills something?
No. I mean, yeah.
Dude, I mean, it grabs it, does not let go. First off, let's just go ahead and say that the crocodiles and alligators have the strongest bite out of any animal in the world. It's true. Mm-hmm. And they will hold on to it, crush it, and then they'll take it. If the animal's small enough, they'll just do a quick 1-2, and the thing just...
Jesus.
Like, there's a video. Have you seen the video of the one crocodile? He has like a pig or something, and he's got in the water, and he's like lifting his head up, and he's getting ready to do the quick 1-2, and he does 1-2 real hard like this. The whole carcass just rips off, goes flying, lands on the bank.
Oof.
So I'm saying, nature is metal. It's metal.
A page like that, beyond seeing cool animal interactions and fights, I think is really important because of the anthropomorphization that Disney and Nickelodeon or whoever is making us think, oh, Yogi Bear, oh, Smokey the Bear, oh, these lions, Simba, they're so cute when they're vicious animals. And I think people need to have a respect for them in that way. And I think platforms like Nature is Metal or other things like it are very important, but I don't think people can ever get past seeing Simba with a fucking wildebeest in its mouth.
I know.
But they have to. People have to know where their fucking food comes from. I don't know how I would be in a hunting situation. I cannot say I would pull the trigger with a white-tailed deer in my crosshairs. I'd like to think I could if I knew I was going to sustainably source everything. Hunting is something I desperately want to try. Not just for the sake of I got to kill something. I want to be in the, I guess you could say, circle of life in that way. I want to participate in sustainable sourcing of food. I want to be able to feed my family on something where I know where it came from.
I want to be able to do it so I can be like, if shit, hell breaks loose, I'm good to go.
That's a big one.
And you know what's crazy too is you think about all these apex predators and they hunt and everything, you know, they just do it they just sheer force and brute and beast strength, just like taking their shit down, you know, crocodile grabbing it, pulling it under, drowning it, lion charging it, you know, taking it down, whatever the animal is. And then you think about us and like, we're technically like the number one, you know, I guess predator to most animals in the world.
I've thought about that. I don't know. Yeah. Keep going.
It's not, but for us, we have tools. It's not like, I mean, because when push comes to shove, most of these animals on this earth, a lot of the big apex predators, they can fuck us up.
Right.
You know, it's kind of crazy to think, like, what if we never did advance to the point we are now? What if the human race wasn't as smart? You know, I'm just saying hypothetical. Like, what if we didn't evolve to this? What if we were just another member of the food chain? You know what I'm saying? And like never got to the point where we had tools and weapons and guns to take down certain animals, you know? It would be way different. It would be like...
We wouldn't be doing a fucking podcast.
No, I mean, we probably wouldn't be doing a lot of this shit. Probably wouldn't even have cameras.
No.
But it's weird to think, because
Henry.
if you level the playing field, we actually don't stand a chance.
Not at all.
I know.
Technology is the only...
Like, our weapon is our brain, essentially. Our one up on these people, on these animals.
Yeah, that's... Henry the cat is bucking the trend of technology.
You know, if he was the size of a tiger, he'd kill us.
In an instant.
Cats really want to kill their owners.
Yeah.
I know our cats
do. When somebody dies, they find them 3 days later, the cats have started eating, and they start with the face, I'm pretty sure.
What? Really?
Look it up. An old lady dies, the cats will start licking, and they will just eat her. Swear.
Dude, loyalty gone.
Cats don't give a fuck.
I like to believe Henry does, though.
No. But we have domesticated... Henry, regardless of being the same species, is a completely different animal from a feral cat.
Yeah.
Those cats we were talking about with Steven that are in New Zealand or Australia that decimate the bird populations and the little tiny ground animals. I don't know how long it would take Henry to get back to a wild state. Here's a story for you. My parents have a Siamese Himalayan crouton. You remember Crouton?
Yeah, I remember Crouton.
Still alive, killing it.
How old is he now?
Got to be 12 or 13. Yeah, he's
they
up
live
there.
Pretty long, though.
He looks
like 15.
good. He's still spunky as all get out.
Crouton.
At my parents' old house, they had much more property, so they would let him go outside. Declawed, but I mean, that's what they did. It happened. I don't know. That's another discussion. But one night, my buddy TJ was over, and we let Crouton out, and I was going to go to bed. He was spending the night, and I was like, I don't want to leave the cat out all night. Sometimes if he would get out, we'd leave the door open, he'd come back. But my parents were on a cruise or away, and I go looking for him. And you remember how the house that was in the back, there was 2 houses on my parents' property. One that was for my grandparents, and they had passed away at that point, so it was just over there. That's where Zack and I broadcasted our very first podcast. But there's a back fence, and there's somebody else's farm directly adjacent to my parents' house. And Genius adjacent. I went walking out, and saw him walking the back fence line. I'm like, come on, buddy. And he kept running away, as a cat might do. And then I looked at him, and he was making like a and starting to sprint back and forth on this fence line. I'm like, Crouton, dude, what is the matter? And then he eventually stopped, and I went up to him, and he hisses, cats hiss. This was different. The look in his eyes was that of death. And he hissed at me and lunged at me, and I'm like, shit. And my friend TJ's right there, and we're like, what the hell? And then he just keeps going nuts, and I keep trying to get him, and he's just going ape shit. He's neutered. So I don't know if a female cat being in the area would do this to him. I don't know. He was acting rabid.
Now, was he making weird noises like...
I don't remember it. It was more just like weird moans.
Well, the only thing I can think of is because I just learned something about cats.
Okay.
Too. This might be what it was. Maybe he just was acting a little bit more extreme. Because one day I'm laying in bed, and I'm on my phone first thing in the morning like a horrible person, and the light from the window was reflecting onto the phone, and it was making a reflection on the wall, like a like a watch glare.
Yeah.
And the cat Ollie hopped on the bed. This is before I realized he was looking at this glare on the wall, but he was all of a sudden just as like being all twitchy and like looking not at me but like towards the wall. I didn't know at the time what he was looking at, and he's just going
Oh, chirping?
Yeah.
George does that.
I just found out what that was. I looked it up. And so I was like, what the fuck is that? You know? At first, for a while, I didn't know what it was. I didn't even bother to look it up. And I finally did. Because he kept doing it. I'm like... And it was only when he could see something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I looked it up. And this is where maybe Crouton was just being crazy. When cats see something that they want, their hunting instincts are so strong that they'll start to do that, but it's more common when they physically cannot get to what they're chirping at.
Oh.
Yeah, so like every time, because I tested it. So we have a laser pointer. Mm-hmm. So I'd do the laser, and he would like chase it and like, breathe heavy like a little cat. And then like what I would do is I'd take the laser, and all of a sudden I'd go halfway up the wall with it. And he'd be like, and he'd be looking, and he'd be go. And he would start doing the chirp when it was out of his reach.
Almost like they can't contain themselves.
They
like,
can't contain themselves.
It.
Yeah, they say it's literally frustration, the chirping.
Let me finish this story.
Oh, shit. I thought that was it. Keep going.
No. That's
the beginning.
Yes. My brother used to live right down the street from us.
Mm-hmm.
So I called him because I did not want my cat to die of rabies or get killed while my parents were on a cruise.
Crouton.
No, I didn't want him killed at all, but it's like everyone's worst fear.
It's I Am Legend. You have to like hold him and...
Dude, that wouldn't have happened this night. So my brother comes over, and he's instantly like, you're exaggerating. We get Crouton
the realist
into the barn. We cornered him in the barn. And we go in there, block off. He could sneak through the door. So we blocked off that little exit. My brother goes to pick him up. He attacked my brother with the ferocity of a lion.
Did he cut him up?
He got my brother's hand, and my brother's like shaking him around. And anyone who wants to judge this, you weren't there in the situation. There was an open trash can, and my brother just whoom, and he just fell in there, and we instantly put a whiteboard. I couldn't find the lid. We just threw a whiteboard on there. He was trying to hop out.
Fucking random whiteboard laying around.
It's in our barn, and we take it into our little. We called it the game room. It was like a little. It's where we had Seymour the lizard and everything. He was dead by this point, and rest in peace. And put him in there, and he's still in the trash can for like 30 minutes. And then my friend Jason leaves. I used to have a picture on my old phone. It was drops of blood and Crouton's tufts of fur all over. Like, it was crazy. And we go in the game room, and I just inch the whiteboard off. And, I mean, I might have got a gap that big, and just pew, flies out, and we just go running. Slam the door. I left him in there all night. He had food. That's where his box was and everything. And then the next morning, he was purring, rubbing my leg for crunchy treats.
Were you like kind of nervous to even touch him?
I didn't want. Yeah, I thought he was rabid. So what that was, I have no clue. But to me, if it can happen that quick that they revert back to their wild lizard brain, what's to ever stop Henry from turning? Because a house cat could fuck you up right now. If Henry decided to freak out, he's declawed. We got him we didn't get it. He
came
was
declawed.
Yes.
What about King Louis?
He was too. George.
George.
Yeah, they both were when we got him.
Well, Scott, where I used to live, he has a cat named Oscar, a black and white tuxedo cat, and he went to the pound recently, and he adopted another cat, named it Tiger, or whatever. He's like, went to the pound, sent me a picture, shouldn't have gone, had to take this one home, and he showed me a picture of Tiger. Little cat, little tabby, kind of like a Ollie that I have, and literally 2 days later, sends me another picture, filleted.
Oh.
Had to go to the hospital. Cat fucked him up.
Damn.
Fucked him up. Just.
He could be victim to what you were with the cat scratch fever.
I didn't have cat scratch fever.
Let's get to the goddamn motherfucking piss ass bottom of this, because I'll speak on behalf of your girlfriend. We're sick of fucking hearing it.
You brought it up just now.
I did. What the fuck did you fucking have?
We don't know. I'll just run you through the timeline.
Real quick, give a brief overview for those who don't know what the fuck I'm so mad about.
Yeah, I don't know why you're mad. I had a cancer scare, is what it felt like. So, no, here's what happened. Okay, so one day, I acquire a sore throat. Okay, I had like this weird cough, and I started getting this sore throat, and I was like, "Oh God!" I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" You know, like, and it was a more severe sore throat. Like, I don't usually get sore throats. I lose my voice every now and then, but I don't get sick. Period. Most of the time. So the sore throat was really bugging me, and I was coughing, and I felt like I had something in my throat constantly. So that was the first thing, and I'm just like, oh, this is miserable, you know, and I was like kind of spitting. It wasn't like hacking from my lungs. It was just in the throat area. And I go to a walk-in clinic. I deal with it for about a week and a half. And before I go to the walk-in clinic, I noticed this lump on my neck. And like right under my jaw, but like almost halfway down my neck on my left side. You're right if you were looking at me. And at first it wasn't visibly noticeable. I could just feel it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So what do? Of course I Google it. Worst idea ever. Worst mistake. And after some careful reading and trying not to read the worst scenarios, I determined it was a lymph node. Okay? We have about 600 to 800 lymph nodes or something like that in our body. They're throughout. They're part of your immune system, I found out. They're tiny little pea-sized glands. Usually you can't feel them anywhere. Only like in in your neck, sometimes you can find them because those are like bigger ones and they drain your tonsils. They're the big one there, and there's a few others surrounding it. There's like a bunch in your neck.
Feels nice when you massage them.
Right. So I'm like, okay. And I read that your lymph nodes can get swollen when you get sick or like strep throat. And at this point, I thought I had strep throat. So anyway, I feel the lump. I go to the walk-in clinic. I tell her what's going on. And she's like, yeah, your tonsils are swollen. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to give you antibiotics. And I'm like, also, I had this gland. And she like feels it. She's like, oh, yeah. She's like, yeah, they usually get swollen. Doesn't really say much. Seems normal. I'm like, all right, I get medicine. I feel good. Publix was giving the antibiotics for free, this certain type. It was a good day. I only had to pay for the doctor visit. Picked them up. Take all the antibiotics. Symptoms pretty much go away. Lump does not. In fact, it gets bigger. So now I'm like, what the fuck? After everything I've read, I'm like, well, lymphoma, there's one. Throat cancer, another. Tonsil cancer, all these different things I can't stop thinking about because now we're pushing 3 weeks with this. And it said 2 to 4 weeks. Most websites told me if it wasn't gone after 2 weeks, go see a doctor. Mind you, don't have insurance, been paying for everything out of pocket at this point.
And all the while, you're still vaping your Juul.
Correct.
Okay.
So I don't ever stop doing that. Could be a possibility that it was that, but I don't know. So anyway, 4 weeks go by. I have a panic attack at work. I literally, some of the symptoms came back, like the feeling of something in my throat came back. And also the first doctor visit, that feeling in my throat, it was post-nasal drip. That's what it was. Okay. So that's what that feeling was. So she told me I had bad post-nasal drip. So I go, this time, then I'm back to where I was, 4 weeks now, dealing with this lump, panic attack at work. I'm like, I'm going to the emergency room. I'm like, because it feels like I have like an abscess in my throat or something. I'm trying to justify what it could be, and I think maybe a fucking doctor in the ER might tell me. So I go. Luckily, it was dead, and they bring me in, and she immediately just comes up to me and just feels my. I tell her what's going on. I'm being a little dramatic. She feels my throat, and she goes, "You don't have an abscess. I have a patient in the other room who has an abscess right now."
Was she shitty with you?
No, she wasn't shitty. She was just being very matter of fact. And I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, it just probably needs to be drained. We're at this point, we all think it's lymph nodes. She's like, how about this? How about I'll do a swab test in your throat and we'll do some basic blood work. And I'm like, sounds good. So I'm not good with needles. So I didn't really enjoy this. Like I never do when they do this kind of shit. Mm-hmm. They take 4 vials of blood. They send it, to test or whatever. It'll be ready in 30 minutes.
Needle in your neck.
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
And this is way before. So I get the blood taken to see my numbers. And they run it back and come back and they do the swab test. Nothing showed up on the swab test and the blood work came back normal. Everything did. So I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, all right, I feel a little better. And she gave me more antibiotics. So I'm like, all right, take another round of antibiotics. Nothing really changed. The lump's still there, even more in form and in shape. So I'm like, what the fuck?
Is this... Sorry, it was just one side or both?
One side.
Okay.
So then at this point, I'm like, everything I've read, at this point I've found forums. I have a support group. I'm reading all sorts of scenarios. So at this point, I'm like, I'm going to have to go see an ENT, a throat doctor. I'm going to have to pay for this bitch out of my pocket. So I make an appointment with a lymph node specialist at this throat doctor. I go in, and by the time my appointment got there, the bump kind of got a little smaller. It's still there, though. Go in, and he feels my neck. And he's just like, got these 2 assistants, they're like typing on this little fucking keyboard computer that's on like a rolly, like taking notes for him. Like, this guy's legit. And he just comes in, he just like, so what's going on? And I'm just telling him, he goes, oh yeah, I can see it. I'm like, great. So he comes up and he's the first doctor who like felt my neck from standing behind me. Like it was like a weird way he felt the neck. And he like goes up the neck. He's like, and he finds it and he like, moves it a little bit. And then he just like looks over at his assistant. He goes, left mandible axillary, 2.5 centimeters. And I'm just like, 2.5 fucking centimeters? I'm like, dude, what's an inch almost? It didn't seem like it was that big. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, whatever. Here we go. Like, what is he going to tell me? Hopefully he's like going to say it's cool. So then literally like a minute later goes, all right, so there's really not, because he looked at my throat and everything too. He's like, everything looks normal. So at this point, the only way we'll be able to know is if we order some tests. So I'm going to order a CAT scan and a biopsy. And I'm like, all right, shit just got real. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, fair enough. So I leave and I make the appointment for the biopsy or for the CAT scan that day. I went in the next day to the hospital. And they had to stick me with an IV, put iodine in my body for contrast. I learned that's what that is. And this was a CAT scan, so it wasn't like the tube like an MRI. It was like a big machine. It looked like a giant white donut, but it was like, it's like a crazy X-ray machine. And they like scoop me in, and then of course I could hear it start up, and it's just like whoom, 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 whoom. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking tripping me out. First off, IV was horrible. It was awful, and I could feel the liquid they injected into me just go through my body, and like it was a warming sensation. The radiologist was like, some people like it, and I'm like, the hell's wrong with people? I hate this.
Addicts.
Right. So I'm like, this sucks. So it was quick, though. Got that done, and they sent the results to the doctor when they were ready. Now, after the CAT scan, the bump has gotten way smaller. So I'm like living lavish. I'm living happy because I'm like, it's going away. So then the doctor calls me, the throat doctor, and says, hey, we got your CAT scan results. And I'm thinking in my head like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be all good. They want to do the biopsy. It showed up. And I'm like...
Here we go again.
Okay, I'm like, all right, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it. I like consult with my aunt who's a nurse, and she was telling me like, I don't know, they're just probably trying to cover their bases, so that way you get the biopsy and they can at least say it was nothing. Because if all of a sudden it was something, you can go back and be like, well, I never got the biopsy. Like, you never made me get it. Now I'm gonna die. And so I could get the logic of like they want to just finish the process.
They're covering their own ass.
Right, because it was gone basically, but I could still kind of feel it. So, and I mean, you'll see, like, this thing was huge.
I saw it.
Yeah, I know. It's like literally like you could pop it if you wanted. And so then I go and get the biopsy, and this is where it stands at this point. So I go get the biopsy, I go in, and in my head, I'm like, I'm just going to I don't want to get this biopsy because I know it involves needles being shoved into my neck. And at this point, I'm just going to try and tell him, be like, hey, it's so small now. I don't think we need to do it. I don't think it needs to be done. So I go in, I get called in, and we go to the back. I get brought into this like dungeon of, it's called intervention radiology.
Oh, that sounds scary.
Yeah, and this is the department. And they're like, this is where they do like, you can see like the big cooler where they put the samples in when they're done. So I get in my little room, and I tell her, hey, listen, this thing's kind of small now. I don't know if we need to do this.
You waited until getting in the damn room to say this?
Yeah, because it's a big hospital. No one out there is going to help me in the lobby.
Okay.
So I want to talk to the people doing this stuff. So she's like, okay. She's like, well, let's just take a look, and I'll see what we... And she like does an ultrasound of my neck, and she's just like, yeah, it looks normal to me. Because I was even looking at the screen, and I could see two little things, and it looked like 2 lymph nodes is what I'm assuming it was. And... So she's like, let me go talk to the doctor. Goes to talk to the doctor and comes back like maybe 20 minutes later. And she was just like, so he wants to do it just to be safe. And I'm like, damn it! And I'm like, I'm going to have to get needles shoved in my neck. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. Better safe than sorry. Right, I'm an adult. I'll be fine. It's cool. So they come in, and I'm like, oh, for the love of God. I lay down, and he comes in, and you know what I hate? I hate when you're about to get something done, and it's just like you and like the one person, they're kind of talking to you. But when it's about to happen, like all these people start coming in the room. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then like it's like, oh, shit, here they are. Like they're rolling in the cart. like it's getting intense. Like when you're at the dentist and the dentist comes in, it's like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Shapper? Like he's like getting his hands all ready. I hate that. That's like I get the most anxious. So I'm just sitting there. Like the original tech I was talking to came back, the doctor came back, and another tech. They like all bust in my room, and he's just like, all right. And I'm like, fuck. It's like a surgical procedure. So, of course, I didn't want to ask, and I'm like, don't ask the question. Don't ask the question. You're going to seem like a little bitch in the hospital. And I couldn't help it. Is it going to hurt? So I was just like, how bad is this going to hurt? And they're like, it's not that bad. We're going to numb you. And I'm like, well, that takes a shot, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, shit. So anyway, I lay down. It's fine. I can deal with it. I just don't like it, all right? That's all I'm just going to say. So I lay down. They put like this 2 blue sheets over me. I don't know, just to cover everything else. So it's just my neck. I'm like this. Laying down. So they go. She gets the ultrasound ready so he can see what he's doing. Sticks me with a needle, and I'm like, oh, ow, that hurt, but I'm all right. They numb my neck, and then they explain to me they're gonna do 4 passes where they're gonna take a needle, they're gonna pull 4 separate samples from it. So 4 separate shots. 4, but I got 1 to be numbed. So 5. And so they do it, the first one, and he's just like looking. They're like both looking at the screen. He's like, is this it? And I'm like kind of showing him my finger, like, it's going to be right here. They do it. And then after the second one, he just goes, I just hear, where'd it go? And of course, my eyes are like, where'd it go?
You tense up. That's probably not good.
And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Where did it go? I don't know. And then he's just like talking to the tech. Do you see it? And she's like, she's doing like the ultrasound like thing on my neck, like moving around. Like,
is there a needle in your neck while they're discussing this?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And she's like, I don't see it. And then he's just like, it's gone. It's gone. We're done. Takes the needle out and he goes, we're done. All done. He goes, all I got was clear fluid. I'll send it to the lab anyway and we'll see. So I'm like, that's it? And she's like, yeah, you're done. And I'm like, so they put a Band-Aid on and all that shit. And I look at my neck later and it is gone, literally. So they literally dissipated it by whatever was in it and they pulled the fluid out. It just collapsed itself. It wasn't even a lymph node, come to find out. It was like a cyst or something. So they sent it to the lab. And now, at this point, I'm just waiting for the throat doctor to call me back and see what the lab results say. Because cysts can still be cancerous sometimes. So I get the call finally. And she's like, hello, Zach. And I'm like, speaking. And she's like, hey, it's so-and-so with ENT. We got your results back. And good news is it's nothing serious. It actually came back undiagnosable. So that's where
scarier.
So that's where we're left at, undiagnosable.
You could end up having a disease named after you, Zack Roundy disease.
But before, I've had phantom feelings of something in my throat, the base of my tongue kind of area, while that was there until that biopsy. Once that biopsy was over, all side effects went away. Everything. I feel normal again.
That's bizarre.
It was the most bizarre thing ever. And I still, to this day, I read about a bunch of different types of cysts. I don't know which one it could have been because all the descriptions of all the cysts I read about don't really match what I was experiencing.
Could they have popped it
and then all that seeped everywhere?
Yeah, in your neck.
That's what I thought.
Wouldn't that be bad? Wouldn't you get like a...
I don't know. If it's bad, it's bad. Whatever. I've worried about it so much. That's the moral of this story. Don't Google anything like this. I made the mistake. It ate up my life for 2 months. All I could think about was this. And because if you Google it, you might as well just get in the coffin because everything is going to tell you you're going to die.
Yeah, WebMD.
Yeah. And it's all outdated from what I understand too. And everyone's situation is so different. Like we're so complex. It's not so like it's not so black and white with the different scenarios. Mm-hmm. Like there's so much different shit. That's what I've learned. Mm-hmm. So basically, I started to get to the point where I'm like, I'm worrying about this so much, I'm just going to bring it upon myself because I do believe in what you think about, you bring about. And I didn't want to even bring it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. So now I'd never think about it. I'm over it. It's just like kind of funny to look back because I was making everyone get pissed with me because that's all I could think about and talk about.
Yeah.
And like
That's
I left
true.
work early to go to the hospital because I was freaking out. So long story short,
It's a long story.
not so short. It's gone and no answers came of it. Cat scratch fever, like he said, was a theory because when I went to the hospital, she had asked me, have you been scratched by a cat? And I had looked up cat scratch fever. And when you get scratched by a cat or bitten, there's a chance you can get the Bartello bacteria or whatever it's pronounced, which is a bacteria that cats have that they get from ingesting a flea or having fleas or whatever. And it's not like uncommon. It's 40% of cats carry this bacteria. And so, anyone can get it. And I play rough with our cats, so they scratch me up. So it was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. And the infection is an infection of the lymph nodes. That's why it was making sense, because that's something that will make your lymph nodes swell up and stay swollen for several months. So that was what I initially was sold on. That made me feel really good because it made sense. But because it dissipated in the procedure, they basically said like a lymph node wouldn't do that.
I'm thinking it was a cyst. What boggles my mind is, do cysts just go away? Because do you follow Dr. Pimple Popper?
Nah, I can't stand watching that shit, dude.
I love the blackhead videos, hence the reference to like the little nose men. But she will sometimes get these cysts, these big, juicy, pussy cysts, sometimes on people's heads, sometimes on their neck, all over their body. And they're so disgustingly satisfying.
That's disgusting, bro.
I love
No,
her.
I can't.
I've been a popaholic since before the TLC show, before the millions of followers. I've been watching her videos, and I love them.
So do you have Alexis pop your zits, or do you pop
She
them?
likes to pop them.
Ah.
What's weird is she likes to pop mine, but she cannot watch those videos.
Well, because popping the average zit isn't as traumatizing as watching one of those videos. Because the shit and gnar funk that comes out of some of those things is like spoiled cottage cheese, bro. And I hate cottage cheese.
I don't like cottage cheese either.
Look, I have a scar on my shoulder. I could have been on Pimple Popper because I had this like zit. I think it might have been an ingrown hair or something. I got a hairy back. I don't fucking know. But I've never had anything like this in my life. Like I don't really get acne at all anymore.
Uh-huh.
I did in high school. So I had it like, on my face and stuff. Like, at most teenage kids and stuff. But like nowadays, I never, ever usually get them. But maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I had one on my shoulder. And it like was pretty big. And I was like, oh, gross. And like, it never went away. And it just kept getting like bigger. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? This is a zit from hell. And it turned into like, it was like that big at one point. And
was it a whitehead?
No, it was like
Just red?
it was red.
Okay.
It was like, and it was like it reminded me like a boil or something.
And it did have like a tiny little center?
I can't remember. It's been so long. So anyway, I used to mess with it because I was like, it would hurt. Like,
Yeah.
if something hit it. So in the shower, I'm just like, oh, I'd like look at it and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. And then one day in the shower, I just decided I'm going to try and pop this thing. And I'm squeezing my shoulder, and I'm like doing this, and it exploded. And that cheese came out, and then blood. Dude, I almost went down in the shower. I almost passed out. I've never been so traumatized because it was my own skin, my own body. I mean, watching it's one thing. I don't like it, but I'm like, I always rest in solace, like, ooh, it's not on me. But this was on me this time, and what came out of it was horrifying, and I did not enjoy it. And because I probably didn't go to a professional to get it taken care of, I have a scar from it on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And for a while, like, the scar got better, and it's still there. You can see it. It's right on top.
Is it on your tattoo?
No, it's right above it. And it, I mean, you can't really tell. Like, you'd never know that's what it was when it first happened. But ever since then, no, not a fan. So that's that.
I was trying to go to her page.
Oh, God.
The ones on the nose are the best. You don't find something like oddly satisfying about it?
I mean, it is satisfying watching it get emptied.
Right.
But it's disgusting. I don't like the contents of the package.
More often than not, she'll have the sensitive graphic
Hell
content.
yeah. I was on her page the other day, and like fucking a whole row of them were like sensitive content, sensitive content, sensitive content.
Those are the big old cysts.
That's just...
Yeah, but she is a phenomenon.
But I didn't realize how often she like slices it first.
Yeah, because I don't think it's very effective. Some of them...
That's probably why I have a scar. I probably should have sliced it.
Yeah, some of them are so big and compacted that there's no way they're going to fit through that little pore.
Right.
So you have to make it bigger. I just love it. There was this guy in India, Vikram something, and he had...
On his face?
Well, he was doing it for people. I gotta show you this one. I'll put it up on the thing. I don't think we'd get demonetized. I don't even have us. Here, Blackhead Gold Mine, I think it's called.
Oh, God, gold mine?
It's amazing. Here we go.
Let me see.
I'll turn this down.
Let me see this.
Pretty much, I'll put a thing in the bottom corner,
God.
but for those listening, these blackheads on this person's nose are literally the size of like peas. And he takes the little extractor tool, which I have, bought it
You
from...
have one of these?
I bought it from Dr. Pimple Popper.
What is it, just pressure that pushes him out?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude. He has a pea farm on his face.
Don't you love it, though?
No, I don't.
I watch these before bed. It relaxes me. It's just the best.
Ew. How do you like watching this? I yet can't stop watching it.
I think it makes my toes curl. That I'm just like, yes, get it. I think it goes back to a monkey part of our brains it's so great, of grooming. That's why wives and girlfriends love
doing that.
Yeah.
You're probably right. It's probably like literally when primates like sit in a line and they're like...
I really think so.
And then, like, yeah, because your spouse or your significant other will be like, "Ooh, you got a zit in your back. Let me pop it."
And I get some good ones on my back. You never just squeeze your nose and watch the Play-Doh come out?
Play-Doh.
You got some big pores, too. I bet you
I
get a
do,
good
but
one.
I don't ever... I don't know.
We can get a live...
I don't ever get anything up here, man. I do. I mean, like, look, when I get one, I'll get rid of it because I know I want to get rid of it. And, like, I don't want it being a little whitehead, so I have to just suck it up and just be like, oh, shit. But it's not like, yeah, this is the best.
Just the stark contrast of those, you either love it or you hate it. There's no one who's like, I don't really care.
There's no indifference on this subject.
And that's what I love about it. Dr. Pimple Popper, hit me up. I, in high school, had such bad cystic acne. I never got on Accutane, but I got on a version of it. I had to take a pill because it was just so bad. And the way you were with your neck, I was obsessed with my face, and it would hurt. I dated this girl when I was like 15, 16. God bless her for sticking with me through that, she would want to pop it, or she would like mess around with me and like push on my face. And I'd almost start crying because it hurt so bad. They were sores all over my face. I was trying to find pictures the other day of back then, and I never took pictures, so they weren't there. I went as far as putting my mother's makeup on.
You would do that?
Yes. It was so bad, and it seemed like it would migrate. It would be on my face really bad, and my back was clear, and then my face would clear up, and my back would get bad. It would move all around.
Yeah, I had that problem too. Like, it would be like my face, especially like my chin area.
Yeah, but
then I would get it on my back, and that'd be from like, sweating like a mother, skating all the time. I would get tons of back acne.
Dude, I just obsessed over it so much. I would wash my face like 4 to 5 times a day. I think I was just rubbing myself raw, and what I've learned now is there's certain bacteria on your skin that's good for your skin that you need, and that's why things like antibacterial soap are not good. That's why when you were telling me you took 2 rounds of antibiotics, that's bad. What that is
well, I read about it, and I was actually nervous to take the second round.
Did you finish it?
I did.
You did? Okay.
I finished both rounds.
If you don't,
they say,
it's bad.
Yeah. But I also heard that's also a myth. I don't know what to believe.
They also say we're starting to get immune to antibiotics, and I can get if you take a ton of it, that makes sense, but it's essentially dropping a nuclear bomb on your body. It kills everything,
but
good
I feel like
and
that's
bad.
the answer to everything. But it's like, oh, antibiotics. I'm on antibiotics. I'm taking some antibiotics. I feel like that's what everyone's like, here, just take some antibiotics. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we're very quick to give them out.
I think that.
When, truthfully, if you stay on probiotic and fix your the flora in your gut, that will prevent you from these illnesses. A big thing that happens with UFC fighters is staph infection and MRSA, and that is because after they roll around, like do jiu-jitsu or wrestle or fight, they either don't shower quick enough, or when they use antibacterial soap, it kills everything, and then the good bacteria doesn't have a chance to flourish, and they get these massive, disgusting...
Yeah, I've seen staph and MRSA infection.
Yeah.
That's gross.
There's one fighter, Kevin Randleman, you could see the inside of his chest.
Oh.
And
how far in?
I'm looking it up. Staph. Oh, staph is with a PH. Let's see if it'll pop up on.
It's the Stephen disease.
Yeah.
PH.
Those.
Yeah, this shit is gnarly, dude. It just eats away your flesh, huh?
That can kill you. Yeah, it's almost like a brown recluse bite. I think that's the same.
Well, this is what happened to my grandfather, my biological one, on my mom's side. He suffered from some MRSA and staph infections, and he ended up having no legs when he passed.
Mm-hmm. It's a rough way to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's another thing that just blows my mind? Do you have to pee?
I do.
Okay, let's pause. Did you ever finish Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? You haven't gone back?
I never went back.
I've been hearing
pissed.
Very good things.
It was good from what I saw. It was actually cool to see. It was cool to hear Sharon Tate reference in Mindhunter.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Well, I mean, they interviewed Manson in the show. And
I
the
know.
guy
And then Manson's in the movie.
I think it's the same guy.
Is it the same?
Apparently it's the same actor.
I gotta look that up. Let me see. I mean, I believe you.
I'll be honest, though. In Mindhunter,
I love that show, dude.
I do too. But didn't it feel like they kind of shoehorned in the Manson thing just for the sake of...
Well, you would think you would have had more...
But it was a true story. Holden is still alive. He wrote a book, Mindhunter, and that's what the show is based on.
Right.
So these are all real accounts. I would like reading that book. I think that'd be good.
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure it's the same actor. There's been a slew of Manson movies that have come out. Our fascination with serial killers goes pretty deep.
Yeah, dude.
while you're looking that
I
up,
don't see it. Him.
in your recent memory, like Alexis and I are rewatching The People vs. O.J. Simpson.
Oh, you're rewatching it. Nice.
This is my third time watching it. It's the best. And the second season of American Crime Story, the one about Gianni Versace,
right?
dog shit. Hated it. Did you watch it?
No.
It was all over the place. It wasn't... Maybe it was different because OJ, her and I were able to binge watch.
Right.
And this one, we were so excited because we loved OJ. And I love anything that Ryan Murphy, the guy who does American Horror Story, he does pretty much everything for FX, probably has a hand in that taboo. We were so excited for it. So we would watch it the day after it came out on the FX app on our Roku. And it was just so convoluted and so all over the place is really all I can say. And it felt as though they were going very out of their way to show a lot of gay sex, a lot of gay stuff, and I do not have a problem if you are gay. I don't like watching really graphic boy and girl sex scenes. Like, that's my personal
Like
thing.
that movie that Shia LaBeouf did.
Oh, Nympho.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. Don't care to. If I want to see that, I'll go to Pornhub.com. I don't know. That's my personal thing. It probably stems back from sitting in the living room with my dad and a crazy sex scene comes on and I'm
you're
like,
just
oh,
like,
shit. But it was just not nearly as good as OJ.
You know what they need to make one about? Casey Anthony.
Thought about it. You know what the new American Crime Story is?
What?
Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
Is it really?
Yes, and they just started filming. They took forever to...
I wonder who's going to play Bill.
We were looking that up last night, and she found somebody that kind of looked like him. I don't know, because he's got to be a little younger. But before I went on a Gianni Versace rant, in recent time, has there been a big media serial killer? I feel like our new version of that is school shootings.
Yeah, that's kind of taken the spotlight as far as these heinous crimes.
I can't think of...
There was some dude in Tampa not too long ago that supposedly was killing several people that they said was a possible serial killer. Is there one in Florida? I don't even have it pulled up or prepared to even talk about this.
I don't remember that at all. That just doesn't seem to be, at least in the public spotlight, as much, because to this day, people are still just obsessed with Manson. My wife, she just loves watching Manson documentaries, movies.
What about Ted Bundy?
Yes. Did you watch Extremely
Efron's?
Vile?
Yeah, I did.
He did really well, I thought.
I thought it was pretty good.
It did not get great reviews. I liked it.
I liked it.
I'm not just saying my wife is in love with serial killers. That's why she picked me. That was very good. I thought it was well done. Good move for Efron. I mean, as far
I thought
as
so too.
acting goes. But we just have this fascination as a society with, maybe it's just with death.
Probably. Because, like, I even got hooked on watching that show, I Am a Killer.
Yeah, excellent show.
Yeah, that one's obviously a documentary series, but that show, I mean, and like you said it too, it's kind of sad because a lot of those people definitely got roped up into bad situations, but some of them straight up, they had no problem killing people.
Yeah.
And to actually hear them get interviewed like that, man, it was so eerie.
There was one, I want to say it's episode 2, where the guy was essentially, his story that he painted was that he was the getaway driver.
Is that the one where they killed them in the driveway?
Yeah. But then more and more gets revealed, and then he eventually comes out and he's like, yeah, I shot him too, doesn't he?
I don't know if it ended that way, but he was...
There was a lot of twists and turns in that one.
They've ended up following or picking up some girl
right
from there.
I don't know the story nearly enough to...
And someone got out of the car. I think the most creepy one was the one where this kid... It was like a kid at the time. They were robbing houses. And this was in that same series, I Am a Killer. And he was robbing houses with some other kid he knew. And they were pretty, into Satan-like things.
Oh,
And they were
okay.
going into the house and they were like, flipping the crosses upside down.
I
and
don't
stuff.
remember this. I don't think I
Because this
saw it.
house was like a priest guy who was like or he was someone, I think, in the church community who was like letting just some kids crash at his house, which sounds kind of weird. But he was just a good guy and like everyone knew him. But he was like letting these kids who were troubled or not even troubled, like didn't have a lot of money, or I don't want to say orphan, but anyway, he was just helping these kids out. And he had them all over, and like one was on the couch sleeping or whatever. And they went in to rob this house. And as they were leaving, this is what really freaked me the hell out. Like, dude, what if someone just was crazy enough to come in, rob your house, and then before they left, they decided to like do this? Because I remember the guy quoted the dude say they were like leaving, and he just goes, "All right, let's go." And the other guy was like, the other guy who was not the one getting interviewed, the one who wanted to leave was getting interviewed.
Okay.
And he turned to the other guy, and the other guy was just like, "No, Satan wants 6 souls," or something creepy as shit.
Oh gosh.
So instead of just robbing them and leaving, they hacked everyone.
Oh, so they were robbing these people while they were in their house sleeping?
Yes. And then right as they're about to
shit.
leave, the other one decided to just kill everyone. And
oh wow.
And like the guy who was getting interviewed remembered, it was so creepy. He's like, I was standing there and like I watched one of them wake up briefly and like literally look at me and then like just went back to sleep because they were just so out of it and tired, and
Kids
dropped kids and the adult too. And these guys who did it weren't even that old. They were like teenagers.
Oh my. Oof.
You know what I mean? Just straight hacked on the couch like that, and just, oh God. So anyway, but he got, locked up too, which, guilty by association. But like
He wasn't the one, he didn't kill?
I can't remember if he did or not. I feel like he ended up helping. I think he did, but I remember him, like, he was saying at least he didn't want to. Yeah. And the other guy wanted to. And then the first dude that they interviewed in the show, the bald, creepy guy who was from Florida. A lot of these guys were from Florida. And then the last dude was from Plant City. It's where my fucking grandma lives now. Mm. And he straight up killed tons of people in jail too. But the first guy, the bald one, who like was really gnarly looking, he killed his cellmate so he can go to death row.
I don't remember that.
That was episode 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Yeah, because death row is better than general population. That is what he was claiming. So he killed his cellmate to get to death row. And he's like this old man. He just killed him. And he's like, I don't regret doing it. That's what he said.
Ooh.
And then just accepted his fate and got what he wanted.
Well, you can sit on death row for years.
I know.
Most of those people on that show were on death row, correct?
They were on death row. Like that guy, the first guy got to death row for killing. Yeah,
and the guy who you felt bad for a little bit, I think he tried to appeal it. Here's what it was. The person he killed was somehow related to the district attorney.
Oh, shit.
Do you remember that?
Which one are we talking about?
The black guy
in the car?
In the driveway, yeah. I'm pretty sure
that's right.
it was either that guy's brother or his sister's boyfriend. It was somebody where I think it was the brother, because the district attorney was a little kid, and he said he remembers walking out and seeing him lay in the pool of blood, and his dad's like, get back in. That guy became the district attorney, and he's the only one who would be able to pardon him. And the district attorney's like, I'm a Christian man. I do feel bad, but the law is the law, and I don't think he did it. I don't think he took him off death row.
Wow.
That show is fascinating because it does offer a nuance to these people we would automatically deem as monsters. But the truth is, as with everything, we've talked about this many, many times, is nothing other than killers for killing's sake is that black and white. There's nuance to everything. And even then, what happened to that psycho who went on a killing spree that made him that way?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe people are born, some people can be born inherently evil?
I don't think so.
I don't think people are really born anything.
No.
There's genetic predispositions to certain stuff, but I don't think people are born racist. I don't know.
Well, it's funny. That's why we like Mindhunters so much, because that's the point of what they're doing. They're trying to figure out why they do what they do.
Yeah, and that's what makes that show so interesting, because it's not just a basic NCIS whodunit type of thing.
No, it's
most
eerie.
of the people they're investigating aren't like their crimes done and over with.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to read his book. He's still
I know.
alive, Holden.
Really?
I don't think that's his. I think they fictionalized it in the show, but the guy who I think he helps with the show.
Probably. I'd have him on board.
Yeah.
And let me just say, that intro, so good.
My wife makes me fast forward through it.
I love watching the intro because I love when it's like dun dun dun, the little tape recorder, and then when it finally says Mindhunter, it's like,
yeah, that intro.
It's just so eerie.
The American Horror Story intro. Alexis is like, I can't hear it. I'll walk around the house and, like, when it's dark, I do the American Horror Story. I just like, and she's like, that's not funny.
That's funny.
And then I'll scare her, and that's never good. I've scared her. I love scaring people. I've scared her so bad sometimes where she just like cries. And then I feel like a dick. To me, it's like popping out and just being silly. To her, she hates it. Oh man. This was I am a total douchebag moment. We've all had a couple of those in our lives where you just realize I'm a douche. I didn't know this about this girl in rehab, which is not a good place to pop out and scare people because a lot of people go through trauma. I have not gone through significant trauma like some of these people who have been assaulted, either sexually or just beaten up. I popped out and scared this Polish girl.
Oh, fuck.
Who already didn't like me, and she had no reason not to like me. I think I reminded her of her husband.
And then you just gave her another reason to hate you.
Dude, she was... I didn't even pop out and scare her. I think I was walking. It was a very light thing. And I was just like, ooh, like kind of messing around. We were all joking. And she just started crying, cussing at me. And people are looking at me like, come on, dude. What? I'm like,
come on, man. Why would you do that?
You get these white knights who come in there like, that was pretty messed up, bro. Shut the fuck up. I didn't know.
So why'd she have such a reaction?
I don't know.
Do you
She says she doesn't like being scared. I don't know if she got abused. I'm not sitting here like, oh, you're abusing. No, that's awful. But I didn't know. If there's ever a moment where I felt like a total piece of shit,
It was then.
yeah.
Damn, see, I haven't had that with scaring anyone because we do it so much at work. It's like second nature. It's like a game. I would get to the point where I'd take lids from these metal bins in our thing, and when someone comes out of the bathroom, fucking bing. Like, we would go crazy. Everyone would be filming it. Like, I mean, we would go all out. And we still sometimes do. Not so much anymore. But I love it, man. I love jumping out.
Something primal about it.
Yeah.
I will wait.
I've done it a couple of times with Sky because she's borderline hates it too. And I
That's
even
what
told
makes
her,
it more fun.
I know, and I told him, like, you're lucky I don't do this more because I do it all the time at work. And I was like, because I've done it once without even trying. And then I did it another time, and she freaks out.
It's one of my favorite pastimes. I will wait.
I love watching Scare Cam.
Oh, I've not really. I know what that is. I've just not really looked those up.
It's great.
Before.
It's inspiring. But anyway, yeah, keep going.
I'll wait for like 45 minutes somewhere, like just to get somebody.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah,
the payoff is great.
Alexis hates it. But there's this weird thing. She loves Halloween Horror Nights.
See, it's like Sky. She likes horror, but like doesn't like getting jump scared. It's funny.
I think that's because there's an agreement everybody
like I'm coming here to get scared.
Yes.
I'm not living normal life and booga booga, holy shit.
Yeah, I enjoy Halloween Horror Nights.
Dude, I went like 5 years ago and I was like,
I always get a headache.
I was also drunk, but
yeah, one time I went, I was hopped on Adderall. And then the other time me and my friend smoked pot. That was scary. Quick story about that one. You know how when they cut off the line, they let in like 30 people to walk through the house. Like, they'll wait.
Right.
You guys go through, then they'll move it again. We were the last. So
no one was behind you.
No one was behind us. So we even waited for the other people to go. And high as shit, we were in the American Werewolf in London house. That was genuinely some of the most terrified I've ever been because we got every single jump scare.
Damn.
And that was great. But as far as HHN goes, it's loud. The fake smoke and fog gives me a headache. There's just so many fucking people.
Dude, it brings out a lot of people.
That is the one event with single-handedly the most employee firings at Universal.
People get fired like every day?
No, I'm saying, I didn't word that right. When Halloween Horror Nights is going on, more employees of Universal get fired for attending and getting too drunk or doing something really stupid than any other.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How could they even be spotted in all those people?
You make an ass of yourself somewhere, it gets around, dude. Because the same employees sign up to be the characters, sign up to work the house. The supervisors, like, okay, I'm running.
It's like good overtime season.
Yeah, they make better money. The characters don't make much. I know Shanice was doing that for a bit.
Yeah, a lot of the local actors do it.
I feel bad because I think you're only making around $9 an hour.
God. And you're there till like, what,
maybe
midnight?
11.
How late are you there?
Oh, you're probably not leaving that park till 3 a.m. By the time you get all your makeup and stuff off. And you got to, I know damn well they don't let you keep some of those costumes. So you got to take them back to wardrobe. It's rough.
Yeah, no thanks.
And you're in that house for hours on end, constantly.
Just doing it over and over.
Yeah, so I can imagine they get headaches, and it's loud in there. It's dark. That doesn't seem like a fun job. Everyone's like, oh, I want to be a character. Fuck that.
Wonder how many people walk out and like quit. Just like,
I'm sure. We had a guy... His name was Gabe. I kind of remember his last name. I don't know. Fuck it. Very flamboyantly gay. Had a thing for me. Was a nice guy. Probably still is a nice guy. My buddy Matt Hunter and I met up with him. We just found him. He was already a little tipsy, getting a little silly. We're like, oh, whatever. And he gets progressively drunker really quick to the point where he can't even walk. Like this is him. He would like
So he was straight stumbling.
Yeah. A cop comes up to us.
Oh, shit.
He's legal. He can drink.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on here? And we're like, I don't know. We're trying to get him out at this point. He's not even coherent. The cop's like,
a zombie.
that's what he was acting like that. That's hilarious. I never thought of that.
Why aren't you in costume, sir?
We tell the cop he's just so drunk. We're just trying to get him home. And it's like, he doesn't seem like he's just drunk. It seemed like someone slipped him something or he took something. And
was he like able to respond? No?
No, he was zonked.
So he wasn't like, I just love you guys so much.
He started that way and just got so much progressively worse. We tried to get him to walk on his own and he fell.
He fell.
Yeah, it was bad. And I'm pretty sure he got fired. It's moments like that. Because you mix all those people there. It's at night and alcohol. Not a good scenario.
Are people riding rides still?
Mm-hmm. Not all the rides are open, but yeah, like Rocket's open.
Yeah, good. That's a dope ride to keep
Shrek
open.
was never open.
Fuck that ride.
I wish we could go back down.
No, I actually do want to dabble in rides. I have news.
Our resident roller coaster aficionada.
Yes, I have roller coaster news. So
right.
I've already mentioned before that, since we're on the subject of theme parks one more time, that
episode never aired, so no one knows we talked about theme parks for an hour.
Oh, that's right.
The
Damn.
podcast that got away. Continue.
Anyway, well, Islands of Adventure is getting a new roller coaster.
Really?
They are getting a Jurassic Park themed roller coaster manufactured by Intamin, which is the same company who built Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. They got a 2-coaster deal, and the new roller coaster for Jurassic Park is going to be a really intense roller coaster, judging by the way the track is built and shaped, because some of the track has already been delivered, and they've got the walls up. They're doing that. So that's going to be a dope ride. It's going to be a really intense, good roller coaster for Orlando. Like, we're talking competing with, like, Mako, things like that. Hulk, that level of roller coaster.
So
it's going to be a big coaster. SeaWorld just announced their new coaster, Icebreaker. It's going to be a launched roller coaster, which so is the Jurassic Park one, which is kind of like Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, where it's not like there's no chain lift. It's a launched mechanism roller coaster, like Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure.
Like Hulk?
Kind of, but launches...
Hulk chains you and then launches you.
Hulk, yeah, these roller coasters have multiple launch points. Like, you'll launch out, do some stuff, then all of a sudden you'll launch again. Like, that's how the speed is maintained.
Okay.
So there's no lift per se. So Icebreaker is not going to be built by Intamin, I don't think. And from the concept art, it looks like the same company that built Tigris at Busch Gardens. Their new launch roller coaster.
Okay, I've not been to Busch Gardens in a minute.
Well, I have grand finale news of my last roller coaster. They just finally released more details, so it's official. So Icebreaker's coming to SeaWorld. It's going to be 48-inch height requirement, yada, 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 so the kids can ride with you. Woohoo. You know, if the kids can ride, not my type of roller coaster. So, anyway, but the grand finale of all this news, because Gwazi, you remember Gwazi?
Yes.
All right, Gwazi shut down...
Is that the wood coaster?
The wood coaster, quite a long time ago. And... there was rumors going around for the longest time that a new roller coaster is going to take its spot. So this is going to be Busch Gardens' like 6th or 7th roller coaster at this point. So they finally, and then news leaked that it was going to be a hybrid, like it was going to be wooden and steel, which led to speculation of who's going to build this bitch. And so they finally have released the name and the manufacturer. I am so stoked because here's why. First things first, they're still calling it Gwazi. It's going to be called Iron Gwazi. And the new animal they're theming it off of is the crocodile.
Nice.
Yep, so it's going to be themed off a crocodile. Second thing that we just found out, it's being built by Rocky Mountain Construction, RMC. Now, Typical roller coaster manufacturer that builds a shit ton is B&M. That built the Hulk. Dueling Dragons was built by B&M. Mako, Manta, Kraken, all B&M. It's a Swedish company. Intamin is my new favorite because they built things like Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. They built Cheetah Hunt in Busch Gardens, which is a dope roller coaster. They're building the new Jurassic Park one.
Now
They built the tallest roller coaster in the world, which is Top Thrill Dragster.
Is
in Cedar Point.
Hagrid's like the Mummy?
No.
Okay.
God, no.
What would you
it's
compare
way
it-
better than the Mummy.
Well, what would you compare it to? What type of ride is it?
It's like a roller coaster
Like that
that's
Green Gots?
more intense, more bigger.
Okay.
It's story, all like animatronics. There's no screens.
Indoor?
Portions, but like not really.
Okay.
It's mostly outdoors. Big roller coaster, motorcycle type seating, and a little sidecar. So that's an Intamin product, as well as the new Jurassic Park roller coaster. Now, Rocky Mountain Construction, they specialize in steel wooden hybrid roller coasters. Now, they're not just any old wooden roller coaster, even though they have steel track. These beasts are fucking intense. They have a roller coaster in Cedar Point called Steel Vengeance. It's built by Rocky Mountain Construction. Voted #1 roller coaster in the United States. It's going to have, Iron Gwazi's going to have a 200-foot drop. Like, these details are out now. It's going to be the tallest of its kind in the United States. They're trying to dethrone Steel Vengeance with this one. It's going to be the tallest. It's going to be taller than Steel Vengeance, and it's going to be a nearly straight down drop, and it's going to go upside down multiple times. And if you watch the point of view video of Steel Vengeance, it's mayhem. Because it weaves itself in the wooden track so much. There's points in the ride where you don't know what's up and what's down. Like, the way it does its inversions are so weird. It's not even classic corkscrews. It's like, we're upside down. We're back the way we just went. We're upside down again. We'll go all the way around. We're upside down a little bit. Go back the way we came. Like, it'll do like half inversions. Like, the track will just go, and then back to the same way. It won't even like do a full corkscrew sometimes. Insanity. And they're trying to make this one, Iron Gwazi, bigger and better than any RMC ride here in the United States.
Wow.
And that's the official news on that. And it's going to be done in a couple of years because it's a massive roller coaster. And it's going to be no longer 2 dueling tracks. It's 1 track now. Because Gwazi was 2. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Dueling Dragons was. They're making it 1 track now, which is for the best because this ride's so fucking intense. I don't need 2 tracks, you know? So anyway, that's the latest on that. And it's going to be fucking amazing because RMC is the shit. Like, I've never been on a ride that they've built, so I can't say honestly like what I'm gonna think about it. But because I like roller coasters so much, I have a feeling I'm gonna like it because I've seen the video. I'm like, I want to ride that. It looks insane, and apparently smooth as butter, not rough.
I get joy watching you get joy about roller coasters.
Yeah, man. I've been keeping up with the news. It's and also Universal's new park. Do you hear about this?
No. Tell me about
Dude.
that, and then we're going to wrap this bitch up.
They just announced Epicverse, brand new park,
Where?
like a mile south of the other 2 parks.
I used to live around there. I'm trying
It's a huge plot of land. You can see it. They've already been laying the groundwork.
It's down, not Sand Lake. I forget that road.
Universal Boulevard that connects to John Young.
Okay.
You can pass the
John
land
Young's
there.
not near there.
It is because you can take there's a road at John Young. There's this racetrack. If you go down, it takes you all the way to Universal Boulevard, and there's a huge amount of land on your right when you go from John Young to Universal Boulevard, and it's blocked between Sand Lake. You're right. It's like contained in the plot of land of Sand Lake, the road that connects Universal Boulevard to John Young. This whole big area.
And when you're going through, on the one side of it is a residential type of area, and then is it adjacent to Volcano Bay? If that's
Sort
what I'm
of.
thinking. Like, here's the plot of land, you're driving, then Volcano Bay is right there.
Here, it's like, here's the plot of
I'll
land.
have to look it up.
Here's where it's going to be. Volcano Bay is here.
Okay.
And the other parks are here.
Right, okay.
Yep, so
I
it's
know where you're talking. That's
so it's-
been leveled for a long time.
Right. And they've the theming has been rumored to be Nintendo,
Neat.
Pokemon shit, Game of Thrones, I heard, might be a thing. It's going to be like multiple themed lands, apparently.
Okay.
But it's going to be huge. Like they showed like how big it's going to be compared. It's going to be bigger than the other two parks.
Damn.
So
shout
they're
out to them.
Yeah, they're going to have a third park. And also because they're competing with Disney hardcore.
Of course.
And one last thing too, Tron, Disney's new roller coaster, is getting close to completion. Maybe probably another year because they got to build the whole building it's going to be in. But the track is up. They're building the roller coaster right now. And that's a direct competition to Hagrid's because that's a motorcycle roller coaster just like Hagrid's is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and one last thing for theme parks. I went to the new Star Wars land.
How was it?
Incredibly immersive. Amazing. They did so well with making you feel like you were in this land, Batu, or whatever how it's pronounced, Batuu. There's a whole new language. You get a key. Things are written in this Star Wars language.
Oh, wow.
There's stormtroopers walking around. They have rebels who are like running around, and stormtroopers are like arresting them in the around. It's dope. And they did good to where when you come into the Star Wars lane, you can't see the rest of Hollywood Studios at all. And when you exit, you can't see Hollywood Studios at all. So it feels like you're completely secluded.
Nice.
Details are immaculate. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, the ride, kind of blows.
Okay.
But the new ride, Rise of the Resistance, apparently is going to be the longest, most ambitious ride Disney's ever created. And it's going to be opening in December. Supposedly a 20-minute ride.
Ooh.
But like, there's multiple parts to it. Like, you get on a thing that takes you to the ship. Like, it's a whole thing. And I looked
it's
at
not 20 minutes of just intense.
No, it's more immersive type. You know, Disney, they don't go the intense route.
No, Space Mountain gets intense.
Because it's pitch black, and I feel like I'm about to get my head chopped off.
Have you ever seen it with the lights on?
I have watched a video.
And I hear it's very underwhelming with the lights on.
It is. The roller coaster looks like a carnival ride once the lights are on. The track looks weak. I don't even know how it supports itself. Like, I look at it with the lights on, I'm like, dude, this is the fucking roller coaster?
Yeah, but in the pitch black, how many times are you like, my head's going to get decapitated?
The whole time, and you're in like a little tiny rocket. Your seat's so small. You're exposed.
That's so funny. I always think I'm going to get clipped.
I do too every time. I duck naturally
So do
every
I.
time I ride it.
That's like an instinct.
They have to make it too to where if you put your hands up, you can't get hit.
Right.
They have to. Because people will do that.
It's still scary because you're taking so many quick little things. You think a track is right above your head. And what might set that tone is the initial tube that you go through is so low, you think. Because you could put your hand up and touch that. I'm sure people have, and I'm sure people have hurt themselves.
For sure. And one last thing before we wrap this up.
How many one last things?
No,
I love it. I love it.
It's in regard to the intensity of Space Mountain. And remember how I was talking about how like they don't really do intense rides? And how I said that Jurassic Park's getting that new roller coaster
right.
by Intamin. This will give you an idea of how good Intamin is. So the reason, from what I read, they're building this roller coaster is so they can replace the absence of intensity that Dueling Dragons had. Because Hagrid's new roller coaster doesn't even come close to Dueling Dragons as far as intensity. So they're going to build Jurassic Park by Intamin, the roller coaster. Well, when I was up in Virginia filming for Mercy Street, I had a lot of downtime. And I took it upon myself one day to use some per diem and go to King's Dominion. I went by myself. I went because I knew
remember
that. Yeah, I went to some roller coasters. Well, they have a roller coaster there called Intimidator 305. And there's one in Carowinds in North Carolina too, built by B&M, same theming. It's NASCAR driver Earnhardt, because I guess he was known as the Intimidator. Was it Earnhardt?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so they have one in Carowinds. Rode that one, pretty cool. But the one I rode in King's Dominion was beast. Intamin built this thing, right? This is how fucking beast this roller coaster was. So it takes you up. And they don't and this was a lift. This wasn't a launch one. This was a classic lift. But Intamin doesn't have the classic chain link lift where it's like tuck, 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 tuck. They have a cable lift system. So what happens is this piece comes all the way down from the top of the lift, grabs the train, and pulls it up. It's a lift thing. So it's like it looks like a chain link from afar, but there's no sound. It's a very quiet system, but it's quick. It pulls you up very, very fast. And what the good thing about it is, because in a chain link, when you get to the crest, the roller coaster kind of has to gain momentum. That's why they always say, sit in the back. It pulls you, because the drop's better. With these Intamin roller coasters, no need, because the lift the thing that pulls it up goes over and down the crest a little bit, so it's a steady speed of just pulling over this hill. So you can be in the front and you still get a good like, oh shit, like there's no like stop for a second then go down. It's like you're going over and down. So this thing is 305 feet tall. That's why it's called the 305. Now most roller coasters, when they're done, you'll go up another hill. You'll do like an inversion, like a loop after the first drop. Not this roller coaster. This fucking roller coaster does this drop, and then you do a gigantic bank helix turn like 10 feet above the ground. So you do this huge drop, and you do this giant turn, huge. Like the G's are so strong, and then you go up a hill, but the turn is massive. So I ride this ride, right? And I'm like, this is going to be sick. Ride it, go down the drop. I'm doing this turn. Blackout.
No.
So I black out on the ride, and then I gain consciousness when I go up the next hill. Like I'm like, holy shit! I like saw spots and I grayed out.
Not cool.
So I'm like, dude, this ride's insane. So I get off. Fast forward years, I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, damn, I'm blacked out on the ride. I'm like, my bitch, like what the hell's going on? I'm like a roller coaster person. Like I can't believe this happened. So I'm reading about roller coasters just recently because I'm obsessed with the new coasters coming to Florida right now. And I somehow find my way to an article about this roller coaster, Intimidator 305. Come to find out, I wasn't the only one. People were complaining that they were blacking out on this ride in that same spot. Multiple people, so much so that they had to shut the ride down. They added trim brakes to the bottom of the hill, so it slowed the train down, and they altered the turn and lifted it slightly.
No.
Because the speed from you going that high up to that low so quick without going back up again, your body's blood pressure can't adjust quick enough, and it causes you to like fade for a second. And I was like, and it was so funny because people were like 50-50, like, oh, I'm glad they did this. And other people were like, man, why the fuck? That was the whole point, the intensity. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, I can't believe I wasn't the only one, but it was everyone who was happening. So what I'm getting at is that's Intamin for you.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit they're building. So I can only hope this Jurassic Park roller coaster is like this level.
I don't think Universal will have people blacking out.
No, but it probably made news throughout the whole coaster community. They probably knew like, all right, we can't.
Coaster community.
Well, the manufacturers, they're probably, we can't build a ride like this because we don't want people complaining about it, you know?
That happens to fighter pilots, and they have like the Blue Angels, they have a certain breathing technique where it's like you keep the blood in your brain.
That's how I breathed when I went skydiving.
Because you're right, the dramatic change in
pressure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know, dude.
It's very fun to hear you nerd out on roller coasters, my friend. I'd say in this area, you are somewhat of a savant. You didn't even comment on that.
I love it, dude. It's sick. I want one.
We'll get you one.
Yeah, give me one. How much was this again?
With a Groupon, like $14.
That's not bad.
And they're typically hundreds of dollars.
For this?
I'm telling you.
This looks like you could buy this at Ross, like in the fucking cheap art section.
Maybe we'll get them sold in Ross.
Right? Yeah, but I want one. Send me the link.
I will. All right, my friend.
All right, dude.
Appreciate you coming.
Peace.